59-32 run with the complimentary plays here, and cashed in last night with the only selection, with St. Louis getting the job done at Arizona. Two more free plays in baseball: Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Texas, Baltimore. Plus, as promised, an in-depth review of all three of your NFL games coming up in just a moment. Probably saw the news that Daryl Dawkins, the former NBA center, longtime member of the Philadelphia 76ers, passed away yesterday. Such a young age. I believe he was 58 years old, apparently of a heart attack. Now, I grew up in the Philadelphia area. The first year I actually followed basketball was not a great year to be a 76ers fan. It was the year they went 9-73, okay? A couple years later, they go and they draft Daryl Dawkins, 18-year-old out of high school. They thought he was going to be the next big thing. Unfortunately, he didn't turn into much more of just a journeyman center. Had flashes of brilliance, but had more periods of inconsistency. So much expected of him, but really was best known for those rim-rattling dunks, the two backboard-breaking dunks he had back in that one season before they put in the breakaway rims the NBA did. So he was certainly entertaining. But I got to tell you, fast forward a few years, I'm in college. I get this great internship at a company called Prism in Philadelphia, which was the predecessor of Comcast Sports. So they did a lot of the local sports games. You know, they did live telecasts of the Phillies, the 76ers, the Flyers. I was hired because they were going to start their own in-house mini sports center program before, of course, Sports Center became what it is, the de facto place to go for sports and highlights over the past 2 decades. So they went out and hired Jim Gray. You've seen him countless times over the years on network TV, radio, etc., to be the anchor of the show. I was one of the interns that was more or less abused at that time. Nowadays, you'd be filing a lawsuit. Back then, you worked 5-6 days a week, easy 50 to 60 hours. You did everything. I mean, I was a cameraman. I was an assistant producer. You know, I put together the video rolls, did everything. Didn't get any pay. Got great experience. Did get a security pass that got me into every single game there at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, every single concert. I mean, total access. I mean, in the locker rooms, in the corridors where the stars are coming out. You name somebody that came through the Spectrum, and that year I saw every single game. So I didn't get paid peanuts, but it was certainly beneficial being a young kid in college to get carte blanche access to everything going on. In the locker room, Daryl Dawkins, nice guy, nice guy. Was a little pissed off one day after a tough loss. I can't remember the exact circumstances. I'll never forget. I'm shooting behind Jim Gray. And, you know, when these athletes, everybody's, 6'10" or above, and you're 5'10", and you're shooting up into the sky with the camera, you only get a distorted view of what reality is, and you're looking through a little viewfinder with this then 13-pound camera on your back. I'll never forget. Jim Gray goes and he puts the microphone in Daryl's face. And again, I think it was after a tough loss, and Daryl didn't want to talk. And Jim pesters him on. And Daryl said, "Get that microphone out of my face." I'm looking through the viewfinder going, oh, man, somebody's going to get hit here. But again, he was a nice guy, always pleasant to chat with and stuff. But the best part of having this internship at the time was the stars, the players, even though there was Julius Erving and all these other guys there, and for the Flyers, Bobby Clark, etc., the stars, the players, weren't the ones I was interested in. I was an aspiring journalist. So it was a different era. You didn't have Twitter. You didn't have Facebook. You didn't have to do your video feeds and your production prior to games and put them on your site to update for all your fans and your following to drive traffic to various websites. So at the time, you'd go into the locker room, and let's say the game was at 7 o'clock, and anywhere from 5:15 to 5:30 in the media section, they would have the pregame buffet. Well, everybody showed up for the pregame buffet. The TV guys, the radio guys, the Inquirer and Daily News guys, the visiting writers. Now, for me, these were the stars. These were the guys that I grew up idolizing because I read their stuff every day. So suddenly, I'm sitting in rooms night after night, quietly munching on my hamburger and hot dog or whatever, not wanting to say a word because these were like the guys that knew all, from Stan Hochman and Frank Dolson and Bill Lyon and, Phil Jasner, who was young at the time and covering the 76ers, all these legends that I had read all the time. Well, in that particular year, Daryl Dawkins broke his leg. So Dawkins was out for the rest of the season, leaving the 76ers with just Caldwell Jones to man the middle. So at that time, you may recall Wilt Chamberlain, Every year, somebody was trying to entice Wilt at 40-some years old out of retirement. Hell, the Nets tried to bring him out of retirement for a short stint when he was 50. He was in great shape. You used to see all these clips of him playing volleyball on the beach. I mean, he looked like he could step right back into the NBA uniform. And Harold Katz, then the 76ers owner, was going full tilt trying to lure him back in because they needed somebody just to play some minutes to fill in while Dawkins was recovering from the broken leg as they tried to pursue a championship. So sitting there in the locker room and hearing these guys, most of whom saw Wilt in his prime. I never saw Wilt. I mean, I saw him a couple games on TV when they played the Milwaukee Bucks, in 72 or 73 for the championship on ABC. I saw a few games. I never saw Wilt. I never saw the Wilt that dominated the NBA and went up for those epic battles against Bill Russell. But hearing these writers who were there, who covered him, and then talking about what he could do in the status of the NBA today, where he could easily come in and give him 10 to 15 minutes and probably get, 10, 12 points and 5 rebounds, if not double figures in rebounds, just because he was Wilt Chamberlain. And I'll never forget one of the guys saying that Moses Malone, who ironically, the 76ers would trade Caldwell Jones to the Houston Rockets, and part of that deal, they got Moses Malone a year later. Daryl Dawkins was exiled off to the New Jersey Nets. Malone had just scored 50 points a couple nights earlier, right? And it was the second time he did it. And one of the guys said, didn't Wilt do it 132 times in his career? I mean, so it's just interesting. A flashback, hearing about his passing yesterday. But again, nice man. Great guy, always a chatty interview, especially after a win, as most athletes are. But always one of those guys, too, if you needed a quote, which would make great TV, and you wanted to get that little 20 to 30-second soundbite, you never knew what you'd get because he was a very interesting fella. But just a great guy, and that's a shame, his unfortunate passing. Okay, let's get to the gambling stuff here. First of all, the half-price play of the day is going to be Steve Buden's #1 NBA crew. Yes, NBA. The last 5 years, the guys that went 9-2 with their NBA final releases the past 2 years, all 50 dime plays. The guys that are on a 23-9 run with 50 dime plays. After yesterday, you got their Dog of the Year winner with the Giants as the half-price play of the day, $1.40 dog on the run line, and a 9-1 blowout of the Cubs. Today, their second ever 100-dime release in baseball. The first was on Wednesday. The Blue Jays on a 12-4 run line rout on the road of the Texas Rangers. You got that as half price. Today, their 2015 rebound route of the year. They're backing a team coming off a loss to win today. Second ever 100-dime release. And again, it's the half price play of the day by using coupon code NYC100, NYC100. There's a couple of 777 triple play releases, including the latest total winner from Chris Jordan, who has won 4 out of 5 this week, and you've gotten them all as the 777 triple play. How about Shawn Michaels, the winningest football handicapper here at the site? Over the past 5 years, making $10 bettors, college and pro football combined, a little over $30,000. 72-43 run in the NFL in that stretch today. One and only 50-dime preseason game of the year. The Tennessee-Kansas City side. You save $70, which means you get it for $29 from the guy who has made $10 bettors in all sports over the past 28 months. Over $15,000 by using coupon code Sean, his first name, S-E-A-N. All your other discounts, all your other coupons, codes, etc. are over on the home page. Let's talk about baseball first. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers tonight at home, minus $1.25 over the Cincinnati Reds. Now, listen, I know the Brewers have lost 20 of their last 30 games overall, but they have won 5 of their last 7 at Miller Park. They're going with the rookie tonight, Taylor Jungmann, who has a 1.75 earned run average and 6 home starts so far in his rookie campaign. Brewers off 4 straight road losses, but again, they're playing at home. Meanwhile, the Reds, well, geez, they were just swept at home by the Dodgers in a 3-game set, shut out by Zach Greinke yesterday, scored just 5 runs in those 3 games. They've lost 12 out of 13, 18 out of 22. I don't see much reason to even think about taking the Reds here, so I'd rather go with the Brewers, who have won the last 4 games in the season series. The other complimentary play, I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers. I rode Cole Hamels in his last start, which was his 4th for the Rangers, as he picked up his first win. Not a great outing, but hey, he did beat the Tigers on Sunday, giving up just 2 runs in 6 innings. A little concerned he only had 2 strikeouts in the contest. And listen, bottom line is, in the 4 starts that he's made for the Rangers, he's given up at least 7 hits in every single one of them. sooner or later he's going to start pitching again like he did early in the season for the Phillies. Kevin Gausman going for the Orioles. Listen, the team has lost his last 4 starts. They've only averaged 2.64 runs in his 10 starts this season. Orioles opened the road trip by losing 3 out of 4 at Kansas City. They're 1-7 in their last 8 overall. They're 13 games under 500 on the road. Rangers, meanwhile, half game up on the Twins and the Angels, and 2.5 up over the Orioles for that second wild card spot in the American League. They won 6 of their last 7, and I'm going to go with the Rangers in this one, who took 3 out of 4 at Baltimore to start the month as well. Now, your preseason games. New England's pretty much pick 'em at Carolina. Listen, the last game they did rally for the win behind Garoppolo after falling down 21-0. You just don't know what you're going to get here. I think you're going to see a decent dose of Tom Brady here tonight, only because Brady, 3 series against the Saints, produced 3 straight 3-and-outs. He's 3 for 9 for 25 yards in 5 preseason contests. Geez, he must be rusty, huh? I guess he'll struggle at the start of the season. Brady, however, Brandon LaFleur's still out. Julian Edelman probably not going to play. Gronkowski's missed 11 straight preseason games. Hard to imagine they're going to give him a taste of action tonight. Who knows if the recently signed Reggie Wayne will see much action either. Now, Garoppolo was certainly delivered in garbage time against the Saints last week. 28 for 33, 269 yards and 1 touchdown, completing 76% of his passes so far in the preseason. Third preseason game last year at home, New England won 30-7. Panthers only scored with 2 minutes to go in that game. They were outgained 405 to 271 in total yards. Cam Newton has not looked good so far in the preseason. In 2 games, 9 for 20, 125 yards, and the starting offense has been held scoreless so far. Dreadful in the red zone as well. But how can you not take New England in this game? I mean, if they care, the Patriots win this game. I would lean toward the Patriots. Your Kansas City game. Listen, Andy Reid, who never cares much about the preseason, intends to play his starters at probably about 3 quarters, some of them maybe even 4 quarters tonight in the final prep game. Kansas City's up to a 6-point favorite. I think that probably has something to do with the fact that A, they're at home. B, Reid made that pronouncement. C, the Titans, who played on Sunday as opposed to the Chiefs playing last Friday in that home win against Seattle, shorter rest period, may not go with their starters even a half in tonight's game. So that's probably why the public has started to jump on here. Alex Smith, playing behind an offensive line that's missing both of his starting tackles, has struggled. 11 for 18, 81 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against Seattle, and sacked a couple of times. But again, I think that Tennessee's victory on Sunday night against St. Louis, 27-14, it was more of a mirage. The Rams were lousy offensively last year in the regular season, 28th in the league, and they certainly didn't show you much with Nick Foles at the helm for a brief period at Tennessee. I think Kansas City's first-team offense that has just 1 touchdown and 1 field goal in 8 preseason possessions, I think they get it cranking here. And you got to like the fact that Chase Daniel, in relief of Alex Smith, has had another strong preseason, 17 for 21 against Arizona and 3 touchdowns and 189 yards in week 1, 8 for 12 against Seattle for 82 yards. So I would lean, even though the number keeps going up, to Kansas City in that one. Then you got Detroit +2 at Jacksonville. The Lions starters probably going to play about a half tonight. Matt Stafford has only played 3 series so far in the preseasons. Calvin Johnson may be held out again, because I certainly don't want to risk him to injury in a worthless preseason game. For Jacksonville, Blake Bortles, 6 drives so far in the preseason, 4 scoring drives, no interceptions, so that's good news for him. Jaguar starters expected to play at least a series into a third quarter, which is something a lot of coaches like to do, because they like to see how younger teams especially respond after sitting around for halftime and then coming out fresh to crank up their engines again in the third quarter. TJ Yeldon, he's the back out of Alabama. They drafted, expected to be their featured back, expected to make his debut tonight after missing the first couple games with a sprained finger. I don't know in this game. I mean, I'll tell you, if you put a gun to my head, maybe I'd take the Lions in the first half at +0.5 point, maybe, but not a great game. So anyway, those are your preseason previews. You got your free picks. Go forward, make money. Talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.